drives someone to hold on to an idea beyond all reason, to stand year after year against the fading probabilities, to act on a vision of yourself that goes beyond the boundaries of how others wish to see you, of how they wish you to see yourself, of how they see themselves. A vision never completely revealed even to you. Something may start out being pure and holy and end up being profane. How will you know? How can you tell when it's time to let it go? My own father would have already led me gently away from all of this, but he wasn't here. Now I'm the father. Will this be the last act of solitude, vigilance, arrogance? Whatever happens, I could never have changed it. It was always meant to be so. I'm so excited about the space I'm in musically now, and it seems to be a sort of a culmination of a long period of work and effort to find a certain place for myself. What is it that I have to prove? I'm not really sure. I just know that I have a fire within me that wants to be felt by other people. It's a very confusing time for the music business. The process will always be there for me. Whether or not the business will be there for me is another question. And I guess part of making this album and part of connecting with people in the business again in this context will be the exercise we go through to see how all of that fits.
That's me! No, wait, I know which way I should go up. Up a rock one day, and I tried to spider up, and I'm up here, and I'm down here.
I feel everything else that I've done has been leading up to this, allowing the ferment to be present. It becomes more ironic, I guess, the more time goes by. Here I am. Unquestionably the best time of my life.
In the light of the evening, with the cold in my eyes, I'm a madman out on a bad man route, looking for paradise. She said, slow down, baby. Slow down now. Come around and get me. When the play is unoriginal and the cast scrapes and bows, and the only way you can seize the day is to blend into the crowd. She says, slow down, baby. Slow down now. Come around and get me. I'll show you, 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 show you how. You can float downstream, let the past be the past. You can wake up from a dream and find your other half. Resurrection will come, apparition will go, and the shadow still will stand and linger in places no one ever goes. When the stage is dead and empty, and the band is all gone home, when the lights go out, what's it all about? Sitting there on your own. She says, slow down, baby. Slow down now. Come around and get me. I'll show you, 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 I'll show you, show you, show
I developed an independent streak by the time I was 2 or 3, and I had a great fascination for music and sound. I can remember spending hours alone listening to my parents' records in the living room. I started to teach myself guitar when I was 6, when rock and roll swept through our household. And suddenly I found myself in my older brother's room alone for hours, listening to his 45s, playing along. My parents must have been slightly taken aback by my level of focus and resolve at that young an age. For me, it was no conflict. I relished sharing an active role in family activities, that exterior world of game, sport, and social engagement. When it came to my interior life, my musical life, on the other hand, it was kept more private. And so I went through elementary school and high school, never really taking my developing musical skills and interests out into the world. It was only near the end of my senior year in high school that a friend of mine asked me to be part of a makeshift combo that was going to play at a school assembly. And though I didn't know it, that chance occurrence changed the course of my life. Fleetwood Mac was a very unlikely fivesome to be together. I think that's what made it so transcendent, so unique. It's also what made it so volatile and out of control. If there was one thing that was a shame in Fleetwood Mac, I would say it would have been the fact that we were ultimately not doing what we were doing for the same reasons. And that became very clear in the wake of the Tusk album, an album which was more esoteric and was meant to challenge, did not perform commercially in the manner that Rumors had, and because of that there was a kind of a backlash to return to an earlier formula, which was a shame. I think that kept us from evolving more, and it certainly kept me from staying in the band longer. There's an axiom in this business that's actually more dominant today, I think, than it's ever been, which is, if it works, run it into the ground and move on. An artist working within that climate not only has to make the choice, but often has to fight the fight to take chances, to follow his heart, to grow. Otherwise, he may likely achieve the short-term success as defined by others, as opposed to the long-term success as defined by himself. Nowhere to go down. We are all taught that life is a straight line, that we must run as fast and as far as we can down that line, seldom looking right or left, avoiding looking behind to the consequences of our actions. We are taught that ends justify means, that we have little time, that there is no present, only the future. Is life a straight line? Or is it a circle in which we are all points, born to see and feel in all directions, to complete each other, to stay still?
That's why I need an eye socket. I was back in. Squish this. See, this lithium. It's not a kitty. Since I'm dad, I control the studio. And since that I'm the mom, I control the kitty.
We now have come around to a time when rock and roll has been harnessed slowly over time by the continuing conglomeration of media companies, to the point where we now have a situation where very little spontaneity is possible. As much as artists have been the victims of this, I believe also the business community has as well. Everyone is trying to do a good job, but it's a kind of a faceless entity that seems to hem everyone in. And I think consequently, you have a situation where the bottom line, of course, rules in a way that tends to disallow the kind of nurturing that used to take place. I mean, look at Fleetwood Mac as an example. They had one quite successful album over in England with Peter Green, and then when the band moved over here and was assigned to Warner Brothers, of course, Mo Austin was running the label then, legendary figure in the music industry. And he instinctively felt that there was something that was going to happen or could happen with this band, not really knowing what it was. People kept floating in and out of the band. The incarnations were many. And yet, over a period of 4 or 5 years, he just let them release an album or 2 albums a year, maybe 1 album a year usually, tour, not really making any money particularly, but allowing the ferment to be present for them to grow as a band and to get to the point where they were ready to find Stevie and myself. And then, of course, look what happened. In today's climate, there would not have been a Fleetwood Mac. They would have maybe stayed on the label, for 1 or 2 albums, and they would have been gone. And that would have been the end of Fleetwood Mac. My my solo deal with Warner Brothers expired, and so I'm a free agent. So, we're just looking around to see where we want this album to go. Wait a minute, so what you're saying is that he wants to sign me, but he wants me to understand that he's not going to do anything, and that I should be okay with that. Well, I'm not surprised, given how the meeting went. Well, 2 things. I mean, it just kind of underscores what I've been saying all along, which is that we really should, at least go out and seek the interest of a couple of other labels. I think that would be really healthy. It would help me, and I think it would just help create a kind of a perspective for all of us. And he loved it. He really loved it. Oh, well, that's great. That's excellent. Yeah, this is a young guy, right? This guy's in his 20s? Yeah, well, that's great. What does he want to do? Oh. Okay. Well, when does his boss get back? Okay. All right, great. They passed? They passed? How could there be such an initial reaction so positive? I mean, ecstatic, really, and then such a turnaround. They did the math. The math? He sent you a note, an email. Uh-huh. Okay, he passed, yeah? Did he say why? All right.
Hello, who's on the phone?
Okay?
Okay.
I will not.
No, night.
It will go.
Holy lights, visionary sights. There's been a change in plans. Gone away. No, I cannot stay. I hope you understand. I won't be home tonight. I'll just slip out of sight. Lay down my visionary eyes, dancing on my castaway
lot of my friends in years past who had children somehow were not there for them, and the children suffered. And I swore I would never do that. I cherished the memories of my own parents, and I was not about to do anything other than to aspire to that level. By the time it got to a point in my life where having a family would have seemed possible, I had pretty much given up on the probability of that. Suddenly, Kristen came into my life, and we had children. I've been given the opportunity now, relatively late, to aspire to be the kind of family member and parent and husband that my mother and father were. The opportunity to give back, the opportunity to be someone living their life less selfishly. Hi. Yeah. Well, this is our last one, so yeah. Great respect for me. Yeah. And did they say why they passed? Right. Well, you know, at least there's a kind of a pattern that's emerged out of all of this, which helps me to take it a little less personally. So we have one option right now, at least right now. We could go for another round with some other companies, but you know what? Given what's happened and the writing that would seem to be on the wall, generally speaking, I don't know. I don't know if I'm particularly up for that. I would almost rather try to make what's in front of us work better. So, right now that's the way I feel. So, I don't know. Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, it's certainly been educational. All right. All right. Bye.
What is that? I think that could be from the Dodger Stadium somewhere.
Let's see. I don't see the lights tonight.
Is it baseball season?
No. Actually, it isn't. Little children out in the rain, slipping and sliding, covered in pain. Bodies broken, soaked to the bone. Little children going on home. I know. Someone ought to make them feel fine. Someone gotta change your mind. Nothing to prove. Your blood is mine. I have no children, just some design, woven mystery that fills up this womb. No little children left